Hello Tangam, welcome to Gully Classroom. This is the 7th lecture. In which chapter, sir? In the chapter Life Processes. In CBSE 10th Standard Biology, Science Book Chapter 6, Life Processes. This is the 7th lecture taken in English. This is the 7th lecture taken in English. Okay, sir. What are we going to study in this particular lecture? In this particular lecture, we will study about the excretory system of humans and also the excretory system that is present in plants. More importance will be given to excretory system of humans, where we will study about each and every part of the system, which includes kidney, ureter, urinary bladder and urethra. We will also study about the functional unit of kidney, which is nephron. What are the different parts of a nephron? What is the functioning of a nephron? What is the role? What is the function of kidney in the human body as a whole? Then we will also study about how do humans live if kidney is not functioning. What is artificial kidney? What is hemodialysis? We will end the lecture in that particular note. Yeah, can we go for this lecture? Come on guys. What is excretion? First of all, excretion is the process by which all the nitrogenous waste materials present in the body, all the nitrogenous waste materials present in the blood are removed by a system and sent outside the body. Let me repeat the definition. Excretion is the process by which all the nitrogenous waste materials present in the blood are systematically removed from the body and sent outside. Okay, sir. Why are nitrogenous waste materials present in the blood? Nitrogenous waste materials are present in the blood because our cells are constantly dying. Okay, sir. The cells have nucleus. Okay, sir. The nucleus has DNA. Okay, sir. This DNA has nitrogen, has an essential part. Oh, is that so? Absolutely. So when cells are dying, has a part of the DNA, some nitrogen is also getting released as inorganic nitrogen in the blood, and this is forming harmful substances for our body, and this is called as nitrogenous waste materials present in the blood. Sir, why are cells dying? Cells die regularly as a byproduct of, as a result of all the metabolic activities. What are the different metabolic activities that keep our body alive? Digestion, respiration and circulation. And also excretion can also be called as a metabolic activity. So because of all these metabolic activities, our blood is containing a lot of nitrogenous waste. These nitrogenous wastes are systematically removed from the body by a process called as excretion. Now are you able to understand intuitively what is excretion? Can we look at the definition? All metabolic activities are producing harmful nitrogenous waste, and the removal of these nitrogenous waste from the blood is done by another metabolic activity which is called as excretion. Another metabolic activity which is called as excretion. Each kidney has a large number of nephrons that are packed together. Kidney is the main part of our excretory system. Okay, sir. So what is kidney made up of? Kidney is made up of a large number of small tubules called as nephrons. A small part of the kidney is called as nephrons. Where is filtration occurring, sir? Filtration of the blood is occurring at a tuft of thin-walled capillaries. What is the meaning of tuft? Tuft means a bunch like this. This can be called as a tuft of thread. In a similar way, thin-walled capillaries, what are they doing? They are bunching together and they are forming a tuft. This tuft is carried by a capsule called as Bowman's capsule. Look at this. This tuft, this red color tuft is carried by a Bowman's capsule. There is a tubular structure connected to Bowman's capsule. The tubular structure is called as Malpighian tubule. The tubular structure is called as Malpighian tubule. Are you able to understand how the general structure of nephron is being constructed? Yeah, let me continue. So the filtration is actually occurring at a tuft of thin-walled capillaries. So these are thin-walled capillaries, and the thin-walled capillaries are called as glomerulus. The thin-walled capillaries are called as glomerulus. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So kidney is the main body part, main part that is doing filtration. Nephron is the functional part of the kidney, and nephron has two parts. The first part is your head. What is the head called as? The head is called as Bowman's capsule. It is followed by Malpighian tubule. The Bowman's capsule contains a tuft of thin-walled capillaries, and actual filtration is happening at the glomerulus. Actual filtration is happening at the glomerulus. Yeah, are you comfortable with this introduction? Okay, sir. Sir, answer me one thing. Yes, Thangam. Sir, what are the major waste products in human beings? Human beings have three waste products. Out of the three, one is very important, the major waste product of humans, and that is called as urea. What next, sir? Uric acid, and finally creatinine. Yeah, so urea, uric acid and creatinine all need to be removed from the body. Can we look into all the three of them a bit more? Please follow me. Urea, it is the main excretory product of man. Let me repeat, what is urea? It is the main excretory product of man. It is produced in the liver due to metabolism of fat. We saw that in digestion, fat is going through lymph after absorption at the small intestine. Digested fat, which is literally fatty acids and glycerol, gets into the lymph, and through the lymph, where is digested fat being transported to? It is being transported to the liver. In the liver, metabolism of fat is happening, fatty acids and glycerol is happening, and energy is being released. As a byproduct of that, what is being formed? Urea is being formed. So urea is produced in the liver. It is most toxic, and it needs a lot of water to be eliminated from the body. In excess, it will cause kidney failure. If in excess, if your body has more urea, what will happen? It will result in kidney failure. Okay, sir. Tell me a couple of points about uric acid. Compared to urea, uric acid is less toxic to humans. In excess, it is causing kidney stones. What is uric acid in excess causing in the human body? Kidney stones. Yeah, what next? It is excreted by birds in solid form. So birds give out uric acid in solid form. Okay, sir. What about creatinine? Creatinine is simply a nitrogenous waste. You need not know more than that at this particular point. Okay, sir. Let me ask you a question, sir. Yes, Thangam. How does unicellular organism organize excretion? Unicellular organisms excrete by a simple diffusion from the body surface into the surrounding water. Why? Usually unicellular organisms thrive in water. They need a medium to grow. They need a medium to proliferate. They need a medium to reproduce. So, unicellular organisms excrete by simple diffusion. What is simple diffusion? The process by which a matter moves from its place of higher concentration to its place of lower concentration. That's basically diffusion. So, unicellular organisms excrete by simple diffusion from the body surface to the surrounding water. How do multicellular organisms excrete? They have specialized organs. Okay, sir. Let us look at our own excretory system in a more depth. Let us look at our own excretory system to a better depth. Come on, Tanga. The excretory system of humans contain a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. So, we have a pair of kidneys, we have a pair of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. That's the primary excretory system. What is the primary function of each and every part of the system? A pair of kidneys. Where are they located? They are reddish brown bean shaped structures. Doesn't this kidney look like a bean? So, a pair of kidneys are reddish brown bean shaped structures which are located in abdomen on the either side of the backbone. So, it is located in your abdomen, the lower part of what you call your stomach, that is usually known as abdomen. The kidneys are located in abdomen on the either side of the backbone. Okay, sir. What about ureters? What do they do? The kidney is producing urine. This urine is connecting and passing. Sorry. The pair of ureters are connecting and passing the urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. So the ureter is acting as a transmitter. The ureter is acting as a connection between the kidney and the urinary bladder. Okay, what is urinary bladder doing? It is storing urine. It is a muscular structure that can be controlled by our nervous system. It is storing urine, and as urine is being stored, since it's a muscular structure, the urinary bladder slowly expands until the pressure of the expanded bladder is leading to the urge to pass urine outside the body. Slowly, the urinary bladder is expanding because it's a muscular structure. As the urine comes from the kidney via the ureter into the urinary bladder, what is happening? The urinary bladder is slightly expanding, and urine is once you have the urge to urinate, you are passing the urine outside the body. Okay, what about urethra? Releases urine outside the body. Using urethra, you are able to control the urge to urinate. So you can delay going to the bathroom for some time because you can control the urge to urinate because urinary bladder is a muscular structure and it has nervous control. Yeah. Comfortable with the entire functioning of the system? Okay, sir. Now kindly give me an idea about the functional unit of kidney. Absolutely, Tangam. The functional unit of kidney, the filtration unit of kidney, the tubules that actually do the filtration in kidney is called as nephron. The filtration unit or tubules present in thousands in the kidney is called as nephron. It is the structural and functional unit of kidney. Just like the way the entire respiratory system of lungs, just like the way the lungs are made up of alveoli. Lungs are completely made up of alveoli, and alveoli helps in gaseous exchange. Alveoli helps in exposing a greater area for gaseous exchange. In a similar way, kidney, the entire kidney is made up of nephrons, and these nephrons are where actual filtration is happening. Where, sir? Kindly give me an idea. Okay, so blood at high pressure travels into the tubules by the blood capillaries. Here, this is the nephron. First, the nephron. What are the two parts of the nephron? The nephron has a tuft of blood capillaries. These blood capillaries are surrounded by a capsule. What is the name of this capsule? It is called as, so this is called as Malpighian tubule. This is called as, okay, I think I forgot it. It's not just coming to me. Malpighian tubule. Bowman's capsule. I am so sorry about that break in the class. Bowman's capsule. So this is called as Bowman's capsule, and the Bowman's capsule, there is a lot of what is present? A tuft of capillaries are present. The blood is coming at high pressure into the glomerulus, which is a tuft of capillaries. Here the actual filtration is taking place. Where is the actual filtration taking place? The actual filtration is taking place in the glomerulus. Okay, sir. Now what is happening? This filtrate is sent through the Malpighian tubule. This Malpighian tubule has a few parts. This particular part is called as PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. This particular part is called as Henle's loop. This particular part is called as distal convoluted tubule. Let me repeat. This particular part is called as proximal convoluted tubule. Why, sir? Because this tubule is convoluted. Also, it is at a close proximity to this Bowman's capsule. Okay, sir. This is called as Henle's loop. Why is this called as distal convoluted tubule? It is called as distal convoluted tubule because this convoluted tubule is at a distance from the Bowman's capsule. PCT is called proximal convoluted tubule because it is nearby to the Bowman's capsule. DCT is called as distal convoluted tubule Because it is at a greater distance from the Bowman's capsule. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So glomerulus is present in the Bowman's capsule, and the actual filtration of blood is taking place in the glomerulus. Yes. Sir, how much blood is being filtered by the glomerulus? Every day, every 24 hours, about 180 liters of blood, 180 liters of blood is filtered by the glomerulus. Okay, sir. So 180 liters of blood is filtered by the glomerulus. Are we going to go 180 liters of urine? That is not going to happen. Why, sir? Because this entire system, other than your Bowman's capsule, this entire system is going to reabsorb a lot of water. In fact, it is going to reabsorb approximately 178 liters. So every day you are just going to go 2 liters of urine, 1 to 2 liters of urine depending on your body condition. So there are two main steps in urine filtration. What are the two main steps? Initial absorption done by the glomerulus, which is present in the Bowman's capsule, which is creating 180 liters of urine. That particular filtrate is called as initial filtrate. This is the first step in urine processing. Okay, sir. What is the second step? The second step is, now this major part of the filtrate contains a lot of useful substances as well as water, and that needs to be reabsorbed by the nephron. That is done by PCT, DCT and Henle's loop. So when the urine is reaching the collecting tubule, which is present at the end of the nephron, you are getting concentrated urine. You are getting concentrated urine. Are you able to understand the two steps of how urine is being formed? Yeah, come on guys. So blood at high pressure travels into the tubules. What tubule? Glomerulus. By blood capillaries. So it is going inside by into the glomerulus. It is surrounded by a cup-shaped capsule. The cup-shaped capsule is called as Bowman's capsule. The cup-shaped structure is followed by a long tubular structure. This long tubular structure is in fact called as Malpighian tubule, and Malpighian tubule has three components: PCT, Henle's loop and DCT. So it is starting with PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, called as proximal convoluted tubule because it is nearby to because it is in proximity to the Bowman's capsule. Then you have the Henle's loop. Then you have distal convoluted tubule, called as distal convoluted tubule because it is at a distance from the Bowman's capsule. Finally, you have the collecting duct. Okay, now what is happening? At the collecting duct, concentrated urine is filtered urine is collected. Sir, let me ask you a question. You just told me every day we will go about 1 to 2 liters of urine. Yes, Tangam. What is deciding the amount of urine that I am going to pass? Very good question. The amount of water reabsorbed depends on. Let us go in steps. You are going to pass 1 to 2 liters of urine. If more water is reabsorbed, you are going to pass less urine. Am I right or wrong? If more water is reabsorbed in the second step of the filtration process, I just told you there are two steps in filtration process. Initial filtration happening in glomerulus, initial filtration happening in glomerulus present in Bowman's capsule, and there is this Malpighian tubule which is going to help with reabsorption. The Malpighian tubule is going to help with reabsorption. Okay, sir. So, if more reabsorption is going to happen, you are going to pass less urine. If less reabsorption is going to happen, you are going to pass more urine. Who is going to decide this? Your own body will decide this. How, sir? The amount of water reabsorbed depends on the amount of excess water in the body. If the body contains more water, less water will be reabsorbed, more urine will be passed. Fine, sir. Then the amount of dissolved waste that needs to be excreted. Yes, if there is more waste that needs to be excreted in the body, if there is more urea that needs to be excreted in the body, then more water will be used to dissolve this urea and send out of the body. More water will be used to dissolve this urea and send out of the body. So the amount of water reabsorbed depends on amount of excess water in the body, amount of dissolved waste that needs to be excreted. Okay, sir. Now I am comfortable with the overall functioning. Give me more specifics about the functioning of the nephron. Absolutely, Tanga. Let us look at ultrafiltration. Sir, what is ultrafiltration? Creation of the initial filtrate that is happening in the glomerulus, which is present in the Bowman's capsule, is called as ultrafiltration. Here glomerulus under high pressure forces many dissolved substances in the blood into the Bowman's capsule. A lot of dissolved substances are in the blood that might include salts, amino acids. All these materials are forced from the capillaries present in the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule due to high pressure in the glomerulus. Okay, sir. Now blood is passing through Malpighian tubule. Where is blood passing through? It is passing through Malpighian tubule, and the Malpighian tubule is the tubular part of the nephron. Malpighian tubule is the tubular part of the nephron. What is happening in Malpighian tubule? Selective reabsorption of useful substances. What kind of useful substances? Glucose, amino acids, salts, and a major amount of water. I just told you reabsorption of about 178 liters of water will happen. So that will also happen. Reabsorption of useful substances. Glucose, amino acids, salts, and major amount of water is reabsorbed. Okay, sir. Sir, tell me something extra about what is the actual function of PCT, Henle's loop and DCT. Absolutely, Tangam. What is PCT? PCT means proximal convoluted tubule. It maintains pH and ionic balance of the body fluid. What does Henle's loop do? Here, Henle's loop reabsorption is minimum. DCT, what is it doing? Conditional reabsorption of just sodium ions and water, and finally collecting duct extends from the cortex to the inner part of the medulla. Sir, let me ask you a question. Please, Tanga, what is cortex and medulla? Each and every kidney has two parts. The outermost part, where I have drawn red lines, is called as cortex. Repeat with me, cortex. The outermost part, which contains a lot of red lines, is called as cortex. The inner white part is called as medulla. How is the nephron situated? Right here in the kidney. Look here. Here the nephron is having its Bowman's capsule. Here the nephron is having its Bowman's capsule. Here it is having its PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. Here there is the Henle's loop coming down. Then it has your DCT, distal convoluted tubule. Finally, this is opening into collecting duct, and this collecting duct is connecting the cortex with the medulla. The connecting duct is extending from the cortex to the inner part of the medulla and sending the urine outside. That particular urine is coming from the kidney to the urinary bladder via the ureter. Are you getting how the nephron is located in the kidney? Yeah, so that is basically the construction of this particular system. Okay, sir, kindly tell me the major functions of a kidney. Let's say in CBSE they are asking a question. What kind of questions are you expecting? Let us say they are asking a question. What are the major functions of a kidney? How are you going to answer this, sir? Note this down. The first point is kidney removes the excess water from our body. It helps in osmoregulation. What is controlling the amount of water in our cells called osmoregulation? That particular, why osmoregulation? The amount of water in our cells decides osmosis. So controlling osmosis means controlling the amount of water in our cells. So indirectly it is called as osmoregulation. The kidney helps in removing the excess water from our body. It helps in osmoregulation. What next is sir? Kidney removes the nitrogenous waste from the body in the form of urine. That is the second point. What is the next point, sir? Kidney maintains a constant concentration of blood plasma. Sir, what is blood plasma? If you want to know about blood plasma, you can learn it in our subject circulation. In circulation, I have clearly taught you guys about blood plasma. Anyway, fine. Blood plasma is a part of blood. Blood plasma is the liquid part of blood which is carrying the corpuscles. Blood plasma is nothing but water. It is a fluid material, blood plasma. So, what is the kidney doing? It maintains the concentration, a constant concentration of plasma in our system. Okay, sir. So, now you have given me three differences. Give me two more. Okay. Kidney is responsible for regulating the pH of the body. Our body is working because each and every part of the body is maintained at a particular pH, a particular level of acidity and basicity that is being maintained by the kidney. Okay, sir. Finally, last point, homeostasis. Kidney helps in maintaining homeostasis. What is homeostasis? Homeo means, okay, stasis means stability. Our system needs a particular stability in order to function. It needs a particular amount of water to function. It needs a particular amount of pH to function. It needs a particular amount of energy to function, and this is regulated by a lot of organs. But kidney is playing a major role in maintaining homeostasis. So what are the 5 major points where kidney is helping us to stay alive? Or the major functions of the kidney? It removes excess water, osmoregulation, nitrogenous waste materials are sent out of the body in the form of urine, maintains constant amount of plasma in the blood, maintains the pH of the body. Finally, it helps in homeostasis. Right, sir, right, sir. I am fine with the functions. Now, kindly give me what will happen if the kidney is simply not functioning. Damn, that is going to be a tough one. The kidney is a vital part of our body. If it is not functioning, the nitrogenous waste are simply going to accumulate. If urea is going to accumulate, it will result in system failure. If uric acid is going to accumulate, you are going to get kidney stones and you are going to get a severe pain in your lower abdomen. Oh my God, what are you going to do? You are going to do artificial kidney and dialysis. Okay, sir. What is artificial kidney? Kindly illustrate. Absolutely, Tanga. In the case of kidney failure, artificial kidney, a device for hemodialysis is used. Sir, what is hemodialysis? Dialysis is the process of breaking. Hemo means blood. We are breaking apart nitrogenous waste materials from the blood. That is called as hemodialysis. Okay, now what is happening? This device, artificial kidney, it is removing waste products from the body through dialysis. Sir, give me more of an illustration on how this removal of waste products from the blood is happening. Okay, this is what you are going to do. You are going to take the blood out of your body and send it through a set of tubes. Okay, sir. It contains tubes with semi-permeable lining. The artificial kidney contains tubes with semi-permeable lining. It is suspended in a tank filled with a dialysing fluid, and this dialysing fluid has the same osmotic pressure as blood, because this dialysing fluid must match our blood in each and every aspect, but this dialysing fluid must not contain nitrogenous waste materials. So when the blood is passing through these tubules and it is surrounded by dialysing fluid which does not contain any nitrogenous waste, sir, diffusion will happen. Why? Diffusion means matter will move from its own place of higher concentration to lower concentration. So through the tubules, when blood is flowing, the nitrogenous waste in the tubules will simply diffuse and move into the dialysing fluid, and this dialysing fluid can be constantly changed, and hence what can be done? Blood can be purified. Blood can be purified, and this blood can be once more sent into the patient. The blood can be taken out of the patient, sent through the tubules. The tubules will be suspended in a fluid, dialysing fluid. The dialysing fluid will have the same osmotic pressure as that of blood without any nitrogenous waste. The nitrogenous waste which are in more concentration in the blood will simply pass through the semi-permeable membrane into the dialysing fluid, and this dialysing fluid can simply be removed and refreshed without nitrogenous waste materials. So the dialysing fluid does not have nitrogenous waste, and during this passage, waste products from the blood pass into the dialysing fluid by diffusion. Purified blood is pumped back to the patient. This is similar to a kidney that is literally working outside the body. Okay, we have already seen that in a healthy adult, the initial filtrate is around 180 liters. The filtrate that is happening in the glomerulus is 180 liters. The volume excreted is 1 to 2 liters. What is happening to the rest of the urine? The rest of the urine is simply absorbed. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I am now comfortable with everything, but I noticed something interesting. Can I ask you, sir? Please, Tangong. I noticed that you have drawn this particular kidney, left kidney, slightly higher than the right kidney. Why, sir? Okay, kindly look at the digestive system. In the digestive system, are you noticing that there is a very large organ, a very large gland called as liver around here? Yes, sir. In the digestive system, there is a very large gland around here. This liver, because of its size, obviously it is the body's largest gland. It is pushing this particular kidney down. It is pushing this particular kidney down. Yeah, are you able to understand what is happening to the right kidney? Due to the liver positioning, the right kidney is slightly below the left kidney. Yeah, are you comfortable with everything? Are you comfortable with the human excretory system? Yes, sir, I am comfortable. Now, let us go for plant excretory system. Okay, sir, excretion in plants. Plants also have different kinds of systems using which they send waste products out of our body. We will understand them in steps. They have a gaseous waste products. How, sir? During the daytime, the plant is doing photosynthesis. It is taking in carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen. So, during the daytime, through the stomata, the waste product of photosynthesis, oxygen, is sent outside through the stomata. Okay, sir. What about the night? The plant is respiring during the night. During that time, oxygen is being used and carbon dioxide is sent out. During the night, the plant is giving out carbon dioxide as a waste product, and that is also sent out through the stomata. This gaseous exchange takes place through the stomata and also through lenticels. What are lenticels? Lenticels are simply a set of tissues with a lot of holes which are in contact with the air. That's basically a very rough introduction of lenticels. You will study about lenticels in your higher secondary classes. Okay, Tangam. That's basically gaseous waste product of plants. What about liquid waste products, sir? Liquid waste products are literally pushed out of the stomata. Sometimes the liquid waste products are even stored in old xylems, has resins and gums. So the liquid waste products are stored in old xylems. Sir, why old xylems? Remember, xylem contains just one living part. Only parenchyma in xylem is living. All the other three parts are dead parts. So, old xylems can be easily used for storing unwanted waste products like resins and gums. Gums are the degradation products of intermediate tissues. Internal plant tissues. Gums are the degradation product of internal plant tissues, and resins are the oxidation products of essential oil, and these waste products can simply stored in old xylems. What about solid waste products, sir? Okay, solid waste products are stored in dead tissues, and these dead tissues usually result in something called as heartwood. Also, solid waste products can be stored in cellular vacuoles. The cellular vacuoles is a major point when you are studying about the difference between plant cells and animal cells in your 9th standard. In your 9th standard, you will learn that plant cells have large vacuoles and animal cells have very small vacuoles. Literally in plant cells, the vacuoles behave as a storeroom. So they can also be used to store waste products, solid waste products. The waste products may also be stored in the leaves, and these leaves can be shed. They can be stored in barks, and these barks can be shed. Example, a lot of deciduous trees are shedding their leaves during the autumn season. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. What about other modes of solid excretion in plants? The plants can also excrete some solid waste via the roots into the soil around them. Via the roots into the soil around them. But that usually happens in very less quantities. Anyway, so I have taught you some 3 different kinds of waste materials that are released by the plant, and I have taught you 2 points for each and every waste. For gaseous, 2 points. When is carbon dioxide a waste product? Carbon dioxide is a waste product of plant during the night. Oxygen is a waste product of plant during the day. I have taught you about liquid wastes, about old how it is stored in xylem, old xylem as resins and gums. I have told you about solid waste, how it is stored in dead tissues, how leaves are being shed, how roots is giving waste material to the soil around them, and that's basically the end of our lecture. I am having so much fun taking this lecture to you guys. If you are having fun listening to me, then Nothing gives me more pleasure than reading about it in the comments. So obviously, if you like our lectures, comment on it, subscribe to our channel, click the bell icon, recommend our channel to your friends so that they can also benefit from this fun lecture. Cheers and thank you. See you guys in the next lecture.